Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact roadmap that has helped numerous other men and women to transform their life, take power over their mind and health, and stop letting the limiting beliefs of the past and the fear-based trauma to dictate their happiness and their future. No more living a life out of the fear of people's judgment, hiding your true self out of fear of not being loved, and pleasing people just to avoid conflict. I'm going to share just how all these individuals learn to love themselves deeply, express themselves confidently, and ask for what they want in life without the fear of what others think. And I'm going to show you how you can do the same without going to years of therapy or trying everything in the book, wasting your time and energy, and instead get the results that you want in just 6 to 12 weeks. Now let's get right into it. Okay, now that we're here at the roadmap, I'm going to show you the typical routes that most people take to heal themselves and transform their lives, or not. So let's take you through the three main ones, but let's begin at where you are at the starting point. So right here in the middle, this might likely be you, that you are hiding from your true self, that you don't express yourself fully, that you hide what you're truly feeling, that you live in fear of judgment of other people's opinions, criticism, that your emotions control you, your anger, sadness, and you're reactive to life, or you feel numb, that you just don't feel anything anymore. Your health might be lacking both mentally and physically, maybe gaining weight, having health issues, stress. You're pleasing everyone else, doing everything for everyone else except yourself, leaving yourself exhausted and tired. You have few healthy relationships, and maybe you don't have any support at all or feel completely alone. You're living an unfulfilled life, not feeling like you're living a life that's for you, but you're living for other people. And you're just possibly anxious, depressed, and many other symptoms. Now, this might not include everything you're experiencing, or maybe you're only experiencing some of these things. But if you feel that at least two of these things are on here, then this video is for you. If not, then you can leave this video and go somewhere else, because clearly you're doing okay. So if you are at this starting point, there's typically three options. We can do nothing, we can fix it ourselves, or we can get help. So let's start at what doing nothing will do and just continuing with the current status quo. So people who do nothing, which is like 90% of people because they're not ready to change, this leads to end up feeling hopeless, that things aren't going to change because we're praying and we're hoping for a new outcome, that some opportunity will come and I'll feel better and my life will change. And that doesn't happen. We close off even more because things aren't going our way. And we continue the cycle, allowing our past and our trauma to drive our life unconsciously because we haven't healed or done the work. Our self-esteem continues to drop and our confidence gets lower. We self-sabotage ourselves because we are allowing the past to dictate our future and not feeling good about ourselves, so we get in our own way. Our health and our relationships are not doing well and maybe falling apart, or we have inauthentic relationships. We feel cynical about our life, that nothing's going well, everything's out to get me, and we blame everyone and everything for our problems. And lastly, because we're experiencing all this pain and feeling hopeless, we use coping mechanisms to cover it up, to cover up the pain and feel somewhat better, such as alcohol, drugs, sex, food, and Netflix, to get a dopamine hit and get away from the pain and dissociate for a moment. But what does that often lead to? When we get to this place in life, well, sometimes it leads to here, that something seriously bad happens, that we have health problems, we go to the hospital, we develop some sort of disorder. Maybe our marriage is starting to fall apart, that it's affecting our kids if we have kids. If you're in a current relationship, it's falling apart. There's anger, there's abuse, we're allowing ourselves to get stepped on. Or maybe there's even self-harm, where we feel so bad about ourselves that we don't feel deserving of anything, so we harm ourselves. There's a multitude of other problems that could arise, such as financial losses and things of that nature. But when something seriously bad happens, it becomes this wake-up call of like something needs to change. And so we begin to get forced to get help. We are forced to because things are going so terribly that we have no other choice but to get help, and we end up here to get help. But before we get help, let's take the other option. Let's take the other route in Monopoly. Instead of doing nothing, maybe we have enough motivation to try and fix it ourselves. We know something needs to change. Let's try and take initiative. Because you know what? I've tried asking for help in the past and I was criticized, I was judged, I was made to feel stupid, or when I asked for help, the support wasn't there. I was rejected or abandoned. So I'm used to helping myself and I want to feel independent. So you know what? I'll go fix it all myself, right? The people pleaser, not wanting to burden anyone. So what happens when we try to fix it ourselves? Well, this is what most people tend to do. I know I've been there myself. That we scroll social media content for help. We follow a bunch of creators, maybe even including myself, and we try to take in their information, but we don't actually implement it or know what to do with it, or we try some things, but it's not really making a huge impact. We read the self-help books and listen to the self-help podcasts. Maybe we even take a little initiative to ask for help by asking friends and family for advice, which I believe is the worst thing on this list because in most circumstances, our family and friends don't understand us or where we're trying to go or change, and maybe not even be supportive of that change. And because they haven't been where we're trying to go, they don't know how to provide the right advice. They're only providing what they know, and they might have their own fear or trauma that they haven't overcome, so they're not giving the best advice. We might create our own plan, even though we don't know what that plan looks like, and we're just taking all the advice that we heard in the books and in the social media and just trying to make something up, not knowing if it's actually going to work. And lastly, we figure it all out in our own head and deal with everything alone because we feel that's what we're supposed to do. I'm supposed to do everything myself and figure it all out. But what does all of this lead to? That we might make some progress. We might get some understanding of ourselves. Maybe you watch my content and you're like, oh, that makes sense, but I don't know what to do with it. So we waste lots of time doing all these things because we're not actually getting to the source of our problem, maybe months or years. There's no one to support or encourage us because no one really knows what we're going through or what changes we're trying to make. And so when we do make a change and it's hard, there's no one there to help us to keep going. And we're struggling to know if we're even doing it right because we've always been so negative to ourselves that we don't even give ourselves credit when we are making progress or even notice the progress that we've made. And also we can't see our own blind spots, the parts of ourselves that are unconscious, the behaviors, the thought patterns that we don't even realize because there's no one there to point it out to us. And lastly, because of all these things, because we're not sure if we're even making progress or we try to make change, but it's really hard and uncomfortable and painful, that we end up falling back into our old habits easily. And what happens? We end up right back here. That we tried doing some things, we tried ourselves, but we're tired, we're exhausted, we feel hopeless, we're not getting the results we want, closing off even more, and continuing the cycle. And then maybe, again, we end up here, to the point where something bad happens. And then we end up knowing we need to get help. Okay? Throwing our hands up and saying, I need help. So let's say we finally decide we need help. Where do we go get help for? Or who do we ask? Well, here's what most people do. Now, there's two approaches that we're going to look at. The multifaceted approach and then the typical route. So let's go to the typical route first. The typical route usually consists of one of these three things. Number one, talk therapy. Now, I'll say it straight up, I am not putting down talk therapy as it can be very helpful for many people. It was part of my journey and it helped me to finally begin expressing my emotions to someone without judgment. And, they just asked certain questions that made me think about myself and helped with some understanding. So it can definitely help, but there's also the problem with struggling to find the right therapist fit. I know I tried multiple therapists before I found one that was expensive, but also I felt understood and was actually smart enough to care for me. And so you waste time and money doing that. And also it could take a long time to get the results because sometimes we only see these people once or twice a month for maybe 30 to 60 minutes. We don't really have regular contact with them, and so progress can be very slow because they're just asking us questions and listening, and we're just opening up and getting it off our chest. But it's just talking. So oftentimes a lot of the deeply buried, repressed emotions and feelings are still stuck there. And so, all right, we tried talk therapy. That didn't work. Let's get some medication. Let's get some antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, because I need something. And American society, we all want the easy fix. And doctors are very easily ready to just give us a pill that say, this will handle it, instead of doing the real work. And so what does medication get us? Well, for many of us, it can help to stabilize you. If you are having really negative thoughts, it can be very helpful. But for some people, it's not. That it might just numb the pain and numb your emotions so the highs aren't as high and the lows aren't as low. And there's also lots of side effects. And it's not fixing the source. It's just slapping a Band-Aid on top and making it a little more easy to handle the emotions, but not actually fixing the source. And so maybe we try this. Maybe we go to a retreat, a seminar, or we go on a psychedelic journey trying mushrooms or ketamine or ayahuasca or something. And that's another option that I've tried. I've tried all of these options. And you know what? A lot of these things do help. These retreats, they can be very high energy. You're surrounded by people who are trying to improve themselves. People are very open. And you might feel inspired. You get some new information. You listen to these prominent figures who are very motivational. And you're inspired. You're like, yes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to start all these things. And then after a few weeks, that high of the event starts to go away. And we go back to our life, we go back to our job, we go back to the same environment and people we were around, and we fall back into our old habits. That we may have made some changes, but overall, we couldn't sustain it because there was no one to keep us accountable and encourage us and integrate what we've learned there. And so what happens as a result of trying all of these things? Well, it leads to some improvements. We're not going to say it didn't help at all. You probably learned many things, and you might be feeling a bit better from talking things out with a therapist or getting medication, but it's still not the full fix. You're still not where you want to be. You're still holding on to a lot of baggage and emotions, and there's just something that you don't know what's wrong. And you're feeling like you're holding on to this weight, and you're not sure how to integrate all of these things together. That it's like you're just trying to slap puzzle pieces together, but not actually in a guided step-by-step path to get you to where you need to be. And you're also not sure of where you even want to be. Like, have I even made progress? So what's that end up leading to? It sometimes leads to us all the way back here again. God, I've tried all these things. I've gone to the retreats, the seminars. I've done the psychedelics. I've gone to therapy. I've read the books, and I scroll social media, and I try to change my morning routine and stuff like this. That was me. I was like, I'm doing all these things, and I still feel like crap. I'm still like, I don't know if I'm even doing well. And so that's when we come to getting help through a multifaceted approach. That through everything that I've learned personally and professionally, what really helped me was having a space where I could feel safe and supported, to be seen and heard fully and open up, and then be given tools and a path on how to get to where I want to be and understand who that person is. But before that, I didn't even know who I wanted to be. And I felt scared of opening up to people and was never felt like I could be seen and heard and given the tools to integrate into my life. So I created this multifaceted approach. And that's what really helped me. And that's what's helped multiple other people get the solutions and get the results they want. And that's through the EmpowerME Academy Roadmap. This is the multifaceted approach that attacks all parts of your life in a holistic manner. That we're not just slapping on a pill and drugs and taking lots of time. No, this is a focused approach that requires accountability and discipline that will help you get results fast because it pushes you to take action, better understand yourself, and get to where you want to be. And so how does that look for you? Well, there's multiple steps. There's 4 parts to it. And so the first part is the pattern interrupt. So you've tried all these things, or maybe you're just starting out and you don't know what to do or who you are, that you've been just so focused on everyone else's life that you don't even know what you want or where you want to be in life. So what we do is we interrupt the pattern, all these negative patterns in the life that you're in, and pause and say, what's working, what isn't, and who is the ideal self that you envision your life to be, and what does that life look like? And how can we get there by reverse engineering the habits we need, the life we need to live to get to that point, to get to where we are at point A and get to the ideal version at point B. So we create the habits that version of you does regularly. And providing you the support through one-to-one personalized coaching to support you to get there, not let you give up, and create goals that will help you get the markers on the way there to ensure we are making progress and know what we are focused on. So once we interrupt that pattern and create that ideal self, we begin changing our habits to correct the old ones, undo the old conditioning, and begin new habits that get us to where we want to be feeling mentally, physically, and spiritually. Next, that also includes education. There's 15 plus hours of step-by-step trainings to improve our self-awareness, release your limiting beliefs, and all the negative conditioning from the past that has been holding you back. All those voices, all those people, all that trauma, releasing it and letting it go and saying, that is not me anymore, that this is who I'm going to be from now on, and creating habits that are more positively enforcing. And then we also do somatic activities, which help us to release repressed emotions that we've been holding on to for so long. All that weight that we talked about that we can't get rid of, we get it out of our system and integrate these teachings into our nervous system. So all of those fear-based teachings and conditioning and trauma from the past, we get that out and now introduce new, healthier patterns so our nervous system can be ready and able to handle life in a more sufficient and efficient manner. So that the good and the bad come to us, we are more ready to handle it. Next, we also provide daily support because as in the past, when you've tried other things, many times we fall off. We go back into the cycle, that yo-yo effect, where we can't maintain or sustain the change. And so having 24/7 text access for support to ask for advice and answer your questions, as well as positive encouragement and accountability towards your goals, so that someone's there to keep your foot to the fire, to keep going, that when things get hard, as you're getting uncomfortable and changing your patterns, that you know you're doing well. Then we have the community aspect, where you recognize that you are not alone in this journey, where you become part of a safe, supportive community of others just like you doing the same work to learn how to fully express themselves, gain confidence, and overcome their past. And so you will never feel alone. You have a community of others who will understand, where you can feel seen and heard and open up. And not only that, when you get to hear other people's journeys, it makes you feel more at ease that you are not alone in this. And so we have weekly group coaching calls where we go over different topic discussions and teachings, but also have a space to express our wins, express our struggles, and gain support, not only on the calls, but in the community itself. And so with all of this, as we create a pattern interruption to pause the current cycles you're living in and start a new habit and new cycles that are more beneficial, providing you the education to gain self-awareness and better understand yourself, provide the daily support to make sure you keep going and have a place to go to ask questions and for advice so you don't fall back into your old ways, and have a community where you don't feel alone and can always go to open up and express yourself. That is what leads to this. That is what leads to real results, because you are getting your feet put to the fire to do the work in a short amount of time, to make real sustainable change, to ensure you don't fall off, to hold you accountable. And so what you get is an accelerated sustainable lifestyle change in just 6 to 12 weeks, You get the confidence to go after what you want without fear, the tools to regulate your minds and emotions, a lifestyle that supports your mental and physical health, improved communication and relationships, and you begin living authentically and expressing yourself while taking full ownership over your life, not blaming everyone, but taking responsibility that you have power over your life. And lastly, this doesn't end for you. You have lifetime support because you are in this community forever. You can always have access to the trainings and the group calls weekly. So we ensure that you have a place to go always, and you will never fall back, and you will always have access to these trainings, even if you need to come back again and again and again. And that is how the EmpowerME Academy Roadmap will stop you from being stuck in this cycle over here and get you the results that you want in an accelerated manner without having to wait years, months, weeks, whatever it may be. And so if that is what you are looking for, if you feel that that is what you need that support, you need that holistic approach that will get you the results you want where you don't have to wait forever, then let's chat about it. Go to below this video and you can click the link to schedule a free consult call with me where we'll discuss more about the program, but more really about your individual situation and struggles, and see the individual solutions we can create that we will implement into your own pathway, into this roadmap to get you the results you want. Because you deserve to lead a life that you love living, okay? And to stop letting your past impact your future, and to attract healthy relationships into your life. To go do the things you want to do and have the confidence to ask for what you want and your desires, instead of living in fear of judgment, of criticism, of not being loved, and all the wounds that you still hold on to. So don't wait. The difference between you and the people who have experienced the change in their life is just a matter of taking action. That they had the courage in the face of fear of discomfort and doing new things to take action and do it anyway. And those who take action in my program, they see the results. The ones who don't do all the work, even no matter how much I encourage them or try to push them, if they don't show up and be part of the team, then those are the ones who don't see the results, okay? So yes, you do have to show up, but we have a community and I will be there to support and encourage you in a lovingly way. So if you're ready to make change, if you're serious about having a life that you love living and stop living this fearful one, then schedule a call, or you can even just go to Instagram and send me a DM, and let's get the discussion going about the changes you need to make. With that said, thanks for watching the video. I hope to be a part of your journey in facilitating a better life. Please like this video if you enjoyed this content, and subscribe to the channel if you want more free content that'll help you live an empowered life. I hope to see you in the next video. Cheers, and go love yourself. Take care.